Hello and welcome to The Mint. I'm Tafaras Wichiwa and we are coming to you live from our ZTN studios in Harare, Zimbabwe. Now let's take a look at what's coming up on The Mint. We delve into the dynamic intersection of technology, artificial intelligence and fintech. Three powerful forces reshaping the global business landscape, from transforming how we bank and invest to revolutionizing customer experience and operational efficiency. These innovations are redefining industries at an unprecedented pace. Now, today in studio, I'm joined by Emmanuel Maguranyanga, who is a tech expert for Perspectives. Welcome to the show, Emmanuel.
Thank you so much.
Now, digital transformation is no longer a buzzword, but it is a necessity. And
Sure.
how are local companies leveraging emerging technologies to stay competent on the global stage?
Yeah, so really, I think for our local companies to stay competitive, they really should use artificial intelligence tools and digital tools. So we are looking at cloud computing, we're looking at cloud storage, we're looking at IoT. Internet of Things, where actually a company or a business can have several branches, but they have got a centralized management. So really for businesses, I think they should adopt to digital tools.
To adopt to digital tools, you say. Now we're going to talk more, of course, about artificial intelligence becoming more accessible. How do you think business should balance the automation with ethical concerns like job displacement and data privacy?
Okay, so to begin with, I think business should really be transparent and have a structured way of adopting to AI in their businesses. So to talk of job displacement, I think also there are a number of things that business should really do, upskilling their workforce so that they can know how to use artificial intelligence tools. But then really, of course, there is a bit of a percentage of job displacement, but also business can do a favor to their workforce to actually upskill them so that they can know how best to work alongside these AI tools.
Now, Emmanuel, maybe perhaps if you can elaborate more on the job displacements issue.
Okay.
Is artificial intelligence, we know that, of course, it's going to change the landscape of how we do things. It has already.
Yeah.
But I want you to maybe to explain a bit further that is it going to replace what humans ordinarily would do, or it's supposed to be a tool that enhances the human? Where are we there?
Okay,
Yes.
so I believe you spoke of two things. You spoke of increasing efficiency or actually totally displacing the jobs. So I would take it this way, and I would want you to take it this way. AI is like a smart intern. You can send it anything and anywhere to do anything for you. So, but then now, for us to then now say it's actually here to totally displace and take our jobs, I think I'd beg to differ. It actually then help businesses actually improve in terms of their cost, reduce cost, bring about efficiency. Okay, for good example, we can take for any business, right, that can be handling clients, so they can use AI for a chatbot as an AI, right? So actually the chatbot would be handling, for instance, the clients and all the queries and the questions that the clients or other people approaching the business are going to be asking. But then now, the people, the human personnel or the workforce now is then handling other tasks or any other complex things of the business. So there is a complementing force, which is the AI alongside the human force.
A complementing force.
Yes.
That I would take.
Sure.
And of course, now looking at the African economies,
Sure.
do you think AI can maybe help African economies to leapfrog traditional development stages, or are we at risk of widening the digital divide?
Okay, so really I would start with the leapfrogging of the African continent. Really, we have seen it very much evident. For instance, we look at mobile money in Kenya, we see M-Pesa. Here in Zimbabwe, we see EcoCash, Telecash, amongst others. So really, you begin to see that much of the population from Africa, over 60%, they're in the rural areas. So actually, that digital divide in terms of the financial inclusion and etc., they're being covered by these technologies. So really, in terms of widening the digital gap or the digital divide, I think AI or these digital tools are doing a justice to it.
Right. Now moving further to fintech.
Sure.
It has revolutionized how people access banking services. What role is it playing in advancing financial inclusion, and particularly for rural or the unbanked populations?
Okay, so we look at, for an example, I think it's very now much easy to send money, or actually to send money to the rural area. So I think that's the benefits of AI in terms of to the unbanked population. Like I alerted earlier on, that over 60%, especially here in Zimbabwe, live in the rural areas. So that's, I think, would put that in the unbanked population. So we are seeing already by them using mobile money, they are then being banked in that aspect. And also we are looking at the advantages or the benefits of mobile money, which is fintech. We are looking at that actually it then helps. For instance, you can have someone from the rural areas that don't have any from the conventional banks, they don't have any credit scores, etc. But with mobile money, you can actually borrow money from the mobile money. So actually, I think it's very good. It's very good, and actually helping the 60% of the population, which is being labeled unbanked.
Now, still on that, maybe I want to know what would be your general comment about where we are, perhaps as an economy within the African economy, and with artificial intelligence in digitalizing how we do our business. Where are we? What's your assessment of that?
Okay, I'll start to say, Africa has been lagging behind so much in terms of technology, but I would say that's the best place for the best technologies ever to prove themselves. So we are seeing artificial intelligence, for instance, like I mentioned, back also to mobile money. Conventionally, you'd need a lot of infrastructure and a lot of things actually to set up a banking system, but you see the inception of mobile money, which is fintech. It has helped the African continent not to struggle and to stress about all this infrastructure, but to go straight and make everyone have a bank. Just by them having a phone is them having a bank. So really, I believe as Africa, we are not too far from that stage where we can say we are fully developed in the respects of digital age. I think we are doing just fine.
Right. Now, to talk maybe about the challenges, what are the regulatory challenges facing fintech startups, and how can policy evolve to support innovation without compromising financial stability?
Okay, so looking at fintech and the regulations around it, yeah, there's quite a lot of complex in terms of them getting the licenses, quite a lot of complex around the regulations, because Africa now, in terms of policing, they're still developing policies that have to be governing and policing the fintech. That's the second thing. And the third thing, we are looking at the issues of anti-money laundering policies. So really, I believe that it's quite complex, but I believe the African governments, and even here in Zimbabwe, we are doing quite fine and quite a lot actually to make sure we accommodate these innovations.
Now, technology is, evolving rapidly, and what sectors in Africa are best positioned for disruption, and how can investors identify these early?
All right, so I believe there are quite a lot of sectors, but I would like to speak of three which are very much ripe for investment in Africa. So we are looking at agriculture. Right, we are looking at education, we are looking at healthcare. So to start with healthcare, we have seen the inception of telemedicine, where we actually have got specialist personnel probably here in Harare, but the people in Uzumba, Maramba, Pfungwe, the people in Binga, the people in Goku can actually have them screened of the disease, the infections, by a professional or a specialist who is here in Harare. This is telemedicine in health. So really, that's very much good. And we look at agriculture, precision farming, and we look at education. We look at the better quality that e-learning has been delivering. So I think these are three of the most ripe sectors which AI is pushing here in Africa. And for the investors, I think it's very much quite clear the numbers are good, and the market is very hungry, as these are real world challenges and African challenges.
Right.
Yes.
Now you talk about agriculture, you talk about it in education sector. Now maybe if I'm to pick education,
sure,
the e-learning, of course, course, artificial intelligence is a good thing that has happened
Yes.
the world over, but it also comes with its fair share of challenges that we have to negotiate in the education sector, particularly for those in higher and tertiary education. Sometimes, because of artificial intelligence tools, there's somewhat a syndrome to then overly depend on artificial intelligence, and of course that affects your learning. What would be a comment on that? Perhaps maybe to those who are watching you, what would be a comment to maybe the learners and the teachers themselves?
Okay, so I'll start for the learners. I think there are now softwares or tools actually that can pick that you have taken. If it's an assignment, for an example, you have taken it all from AI, plagiarism, you can be picked up. But I believe it's a good tool, but it's a tool that ought not to be abused by especially the students, where they just take every information and then they put it on their assignments or their work. Because actually how AI works, it's as good as the data it has, and there are some people actually that are feeding that data into the pool of data. So when I come there and I'm asking questions, it gives me what is taking from its data pool. So there is need for human assessment of the information that you are given by AI, especially to the students. And also, like I mentioned earlier on, they should not abuse it, because it's a tool. So it's either you use a tool for your good or for your bad. So after getting the information, please do not abuse it. That's one for the learners, the students, especially the higher and tertiary students as well. And for the educators themselves, I believe they should upskill themselves to actually understand this whole function of AI, especially in the respects of education. And then once they do so, I think they can relate better and teach better with their students and to their students.
Right.
Yes.
Maybe I would also want your comment on the accuracy of artificial intelligence, be it in health, be it in agriculture, mining, education. Says that people then depend on it. People can actually trust it.
Okay.
Maybe can you comment more on it? I think that will enhance the understanding of what artificial intelligence is to the viewers.
Okay. So I think really to the viewers, like I mentioned, I would repeat it again, that artificial intelligence systems and tools, they are as good as the data that they have. So to talk of education, I think we already touched on that, and to talk of healthcare, I believe there's always need, and we are at a stage where we shouldn't be dependent 100% on artificial intelligence systems. There is need for human assessments that should be in health. Whatever you are researching in health, before you administer it to a patient or put it across to the people, there is need for human assessment. And to the mining, the same. It's AI systems, like I said, I'll say again for the fourth time, they are only as good as the data that is fed to them. So really, there is need for human assessment.
They are only as good as the data that is fed to them. That's the conversation that we're having right here on The Mint. The Mint will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
In a land where traditions run deep, where the soil holds the secrets of generations, and where dreams are sown alongside seeds, a new generation emerges. Welcome to Young Seeds. Get ready to embark on a journey like no other as we shine a spotlight on the dynamic and inspiring young farmers in the heartland of Zimbabwe.
I want to do it because plants will die, plants will get infected by diseases.
I tried to do mixed farming, that is also putting tomatoes. I have half a hectare of tomatoes.
Every 40 days it has to be giving birth.
Produce a good quality fruit size. Well, calves are kept in different pens, basically so that they don't spread diseases to each other.
My name is Tariwa Sibauke. I'm a rabbit farmer.
These young farmers are revolutionizing traditional practices, embracing technology, and finding sustainable solutions that will shape the future of agriculture. So, let's get our hands dirty.
You're watching The Mint right here on ZTM Prime, and in studio I have Emmanuel Nyamagura, who is a tech expert. And Emmanuel, now continuing with the conversation, I'm going to ask you about how is the integration of artificial intelligence and fintech shaping the future of customer experience, especially in areas like lending, that's your insurance, as well as wealth management.
Okay, so if you were to look at the role of AI, especially in fintech, you spoke of lending. You see, conventionally, just as a general person going to a bank and you'd want to lend money, they would need a whole lot of things. But then now, looking at mobile money especially, they just look at your credit score. Especially the AI systems can now even see how much do you credit, put credit on your mobile phone, you recharge your mobile phone. If you are to lend like airtime, actually, in what time can you return that airtime? So they take all that data and assess it and see if you're credit worthy, and also check with your credit score. So you see that that actually makes life easier for anybody who's using mobile money.
So that makes life easier. From what you are saying, it sounds like there is, if we are going to go digital and use artificial intelligence, particularly in as far as what you were saying,
yes,
then there is little to no room for corruption because it's automated.
Yes, it's automated.
Now, talk about that. I want to ask you, what is your perspective about maybe how does artificial intelligence maybe have an impact on the governance of how business is conducted?
All right, so looking at the governance of how business is conducted and looking how these systems, there is less human intervention, especially in their own operations. They work with data, they work with information, and there's the new norm now that says data doesn't lie. So if then is that translated to business, we are seeing that there is transparency now in business, and especially if the business, and if you were to talk of business, we are talking of transactions. We are talking of transactions. So you see that there is very much transparency here, and actually it then adds to have good ethics, good business ethics. Yes.
Right. Coming back to what you said earlier on in the show, you're talking about Ambuya in Uchienda Mboya, or in the remote areas, outlying areas, just having her body screened and being assisted maybe virtually by a doctor who may be in a different location.
Yes.
Tell me about the accuracy of that, because this is health.
Okay.
If it goes wrong, my mind is telling me we could have, problems that we'll have to live the rest of our lives regretting. So my mind tells me then that whatever that tool is, it has to be perfect. It has to be 100%.
Definitely. So how telemedicine actually works, it works in this way where a patient is seated on a chair, right? And then there are cameras all over and instruments for screening. So the cameras, they are helping the visuals for the doctor per se, who is maybe here in Harare, and Gogo Amboya is in Chenda Mboya, as you highlighted earlier on. So they are seeing face to face, and then besides there's a BP checking machine, there are all these screening machines, the usual screening machines. But here what's only happening is, as these machines are screening Gogo from Chenda Mboya, the health personnel in Harare, the doctor in Harare, is actually seeing everything. So instead of the health personnel being there, he's here and addressing a challenge in the far remote areas of Zimbabwe. So in terms of accuracy, it's 100% accurate. And after that is happening, the health personnel will then administer and say, take this medication, take this and that. So it's very much 100% in terms of screening and the information that the health personnel is getting. Very 100%.
So it's 100% in terms of screening.
Yes.
But does it then screen everything about the health of the individual? Maybe that's the vision of where we are going.
Yes, actually, that is where we are going. Yes.
That it would then, but does it, screen everything and detect every tiny bit of problem that I may have and report about it? Or maybe it reports some, or it's programmed to screen something?
Okay, so really, I believe when a patient is going to the health facility, they talk of the symptoms, and talking of the symptoms, the health personnel already knows what is troubling the patient. So they then do the fundamental screenings. Then from the fundamental screenings, the results, they then determine what is the patient feeling. So in terms of those fundamentals, they are all catered for on the telemedicine platforms.
Right. Maybe I would ask you then now to we have your parting words, to maybe looking in that screen,
Okay.
your parting words about what you would say to the general public about artificial intelligence and how perhaps they should vest themselves and acquaint themselves with artificial intelligence because of the future that is impending, the future that is beckoning, that we are going to have. We are in a digital economy already. And what would you say to the public in as far as that is concerned?
Okay, definitely. So I would say artificial intelligence is a one-size-fits-all. It's a one-size-fits-all, and it's not here to come and go, it's here to come and stay. So basically, like I mentioned, and as I highlighted earlier on, we should then really, if you are professionals, we should then now begin to upskill ourselves and actually get to know what skills, if it's a profession, what skills, what are the tools in my relevant profession that artificial intelligence is and where it is, and then we begin to upskill ourselves. But I will tell you one thing, like I said, and I'll repeat it again for the second time, it's a one-size-fits-all. There's no area where it's living. We talk of banking, we talk of fintech, we talk of health, we talk of education, we talk of mining, we talk about everything. AI is here to stay, and it's a one-size-fits-all.
One size fits all, and artificial intelligence is here to stay. It's not here to go. Emmanuel, thank you so much. It's been a beautiful show. Thank you so much for joining us. You should teach me how to use one of these artificial intelligence tools. But that's the conversation that we're having here on The Mint. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Have a profitable afternoon.
Didn't graduate,